So over the last couple weeks, I've had a few comments and requests from the fine folks over on the White Blaze forum about doing a video on the toiletries and the first aid that I carried on my AT Thru-Hike this year. So I figured I'd make a video and kind of show you the things that were in my pack and that work for me. So first off, let's talk about toiletries. One of the main toiletries that most people carry and that I used my entire time on the trail, and I still use now in my bathroom, is this great stuff. It's Dr. Bronner's 18-in-1 biodegradable soap. They call it magic soap. So this stuff you can, whenever I was on the trail, I washed my clothes in it. I washed my hands with it. I washed my dishes with it. I washed my hair with it, my body with it. Some people say that you can brush your teeth with it as well. I'm not a big fan of that. I like a traditional toothpaste, but I guess you can do that too. So, yeah, the main toiletry in my kit was Dr. Bronner's. Don't leave home without it. It works for everything. And like this little itty bitty bottle doesn't really weigh anything. And one of these bottles will last you like a few hundred miles until you have to either get a new one or refill it. So I just usually refilled it if I came to a hostel and they had some Dr. Bronner's, which quite a handful of the hostels that we stayed at did have Dr. Bronner's already in the bathroom for hikers to use. So I would just squirt some more in there, or if I couldn't find that, I would just pick another one up at an Outfitters. So yeah, Dr. Bronner's. The next thing that I carried was Burt's Bees lip balm. I had to have it, especially whenever it got chillier. Up in the Smokies it got cold, my lips got dry. Good to have so your lips don't crack. Carried Burt's Bees on me. The next thing was obviously got to keep your teeth clean. I found this little bitty toothbrush here at a grocery store, and it actually came with the little travel size Crest toothpaste. But yeah, it's just a little plastic toothbrush. It packs down inside its own little tube, and it turns into a full-size toothbrush. Some weight weenies, I guess, could say you could ditch this and just carry this little guy, but for what this weighed, it didn't really bother me. So yeah, toothbrush was a great little combo, and it was like $1. So I had those in my kit. I guess we could call it a toiletry. It wasn't a real piece of gear, but Ben's bug spray, 100% DEET. Pretty much a must-have, especially whenever you get farther up north in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. Mosquitoes are really bad. This stuff is great to kind of spray on your legs, spray on your arms to try to kill down the mosquitoes and the ticks. Ben's. Next was an obvious TP. Good old toilet paper. Good thing you can do with it is you can actually take out the tube and then squish it flat, put it in a Ziploc bag to make sure it doesn't get wet or any moisture, and it works great. I usually would grab some more TP anytime I stopped in for a resupply. Pretty much anytime there was anywhere where I could get toilet paper, like a bathroom in a park or something. Always needed toilet paper, as some friends on the trail called them shit tickets. That's what they became known as, good old shit tickets. So yeah, a bag with some shit tickets in there, gotta have it. So that was pretty much my main toiletries that I had. Didn't really carry anything else, didn't need anything else. Some people had Gold Bond, stuff like Body Glide. I ended up not needing it. I didn't chafe that much, so it didn't really work for me because I didn't really need it. Some people need it, some people chafe easy. The next thing that I wanted to touch on was my first aid kit. This is it. This is all that I carried for my first aid. Picked up this little bitty pouch, I think at an REI, and just kind of filled it with the things that I needed. So if we break it down and open her up, I'll kind of show you what's in here. First off, moleskin. Moleskin is phenomenal stuff. It is a nice soft fabric that is adhesive on one side of it, and you trim it to the size of the blister or cut that you have on your feet or hands. Stick it right to the cut after you clean it, of course, and I usually just took some duct tape that was wrapped around my trekking poles and wrapped it right around, and it acts like a band-aid. You don't have all the extra packaging of band-aid. It stays in place. It goes nowhere. This stuff is phenomenal. It's like putting a second layer of skin on your skin, which is why it's called moleskin. So moleskin was in my first aid kit. Next up, to clean the wound, alcohol pads. Gotta have alcohol pads. I used them for a lot of stuff, not just cleaning blisters and cuts and scrapes. I used them to clean all kinds of stuff. Alcohol swipes. Gotta have them. Have a nice big handful of them in here. Picked them up whenever I could. You could usually find a lot of this kind of stuff in hiker boxes, in stores, hostels, hotels. A lot of places along the trail have hiker boxes, and you'll find a lot of this stuff. So alcohol swipes. Next up in my first aid bag, I had some 3-in-1 antibiotic ointment. I had a handful of packets of this. So if I did have a pretty deep scrape or a cut, could definitely use this stuff, and it would definitely help heal the wound a little bit faster. Then I'd put some moleskin on, wrap it with some duct tape, it'd be good to go. So I had that in the first aid kit. I also, on the other side of it, in my first aid kit, kept some thread. Thread for sewing on patches, but more importantly, repairing stuff. Stuff gets ripped, stuff gets damaged. You spend a lot of time out on the trail, you're in rough terrain, stuff can get ruined, so it's nice to have some thread on you and some needles. I had a few needles that I would use, and the other good thing is if you have a blister, you can take a piece of thread through a blister so it drains all of the liquid out of it. Patch it up with your moleskin. So what the thread does is it doesn't allow the fluid to gather back up in it. It helps heal it faster. So that's a good little tip and trick for all you newbies to backpacking. Keep some thread and keep a needle and just thread it right through there, and it keeps all that fluid drained out of there and doesn't allow it to blister back up. So really good to have. And then last but not least, I had my vitamin I. For you non-backpackers that don't know what that is, it's ibuprofen. We take a lot of these on the trail, a lot of aches, a lot of pains, pretty much for everything. So got to have your daily dosage of vitamin I every morning, and I had that inside my first aid kit and kept it up pretty regularly. So anytime we came to a town or found a hiker box, usually a previous hiker would leave a bottle that they only took about half of it. I'd fill my bag up to make sure that I had some. So that's pretty much it. That's all I carried for my first aid. That's all I carried for my toiletries. I didn't really feel the need to have anything else. So to the folks on White Blaze, hopefully that helped with getting ready for your 2016 hike. And for everyone else out there in YouTube land, hopefully that helped for just putting together a nice kit of toiletries and first aid for your pack, whether you're doing a weekend trip or a through hike. So leave me some comments below, like or dislike my video, subscribe to my channel if you really like what I'm doing here. And as always, thank you so much for watching.
Yeah.